as you grow, you don't want to be, it's not that you don't want to be associated, but you want to be able to develop your own identity. And so I was looking for that. And so I moved to Cape Town. And indeed, Cape Town, you know, nobody, you know, had, you know, heard of my father's surname or anything like that. So it was a great place to start. Except I very soon encountered a problem. In this job, it had a great title. I had a great office. I was receiving great perks, all wonderful things, except there was no work. There was essentially no work. So all I was required to do was just to be there, you know? And I remember many times asking my boss, I'm sorry, Richard, I think, you know, I just want to understand, just in terms of my role, because all I seemed to be doing were like more like PR things of just, whenever there'd be newspaper articles or whatever, there'd be pictures to be taken. I'd need to be in those pictures and things. But apart from that, there was nothing of substance that I was doing. And so I started to wonder about this. But it became very clear to me that this was a job that had been catered for someone who looked like me, but there was no real confidence in the capability that I would bring into that job. And so I had to make a very quick decision. One, I could very quickly decide that that's great, relax, take it easy, and just earn my money and, you know, live my life and whatever. But it wasn't enough for me. And you know, nobody can tell you what you're supposed to do. You know. It's inside of you. And many a times you will have a dream or a thought inside of you that appears too big to you. And so when you share it with, even with people who care about you, they may even tone it down. They'll do it out of love because they don't want you to be disappointed. You know, they'll say, yes, you know, I think it's wonderful that you want to become an astronaut or you want to become this amazing scientist or whatever the case may be. But you know, there's this great job at such and such a company. You could earn this and all of this, and you could have a nice house, and you could, you know. And many times it's so easy for people to fall into that. The most important thing that each and every one of us can do is to have the courage to live that which is within us. And so, you know, in that time, I'm very thankful that I had come from a family where I had that ability to have that courage. So I left my job, and, well, before leaving my job, I decided I was going to apply to a company in the US. And this company was quite surprised, I think, when they got my application. The first time I didn't actually even get a response, so I applied again. In those days, we didn't have email. I don't think we had email then, because I remember it was a lengthy communication process. And not to say that I'm very old, I'm actually very young. But we, so we, you know, so I kept on communicating, and eventually they came back to me. They said, you know, it's very nice. Thank you very much. It's wonderful that you are applying here. We're not looking for any applicants from the African continent. However, when we do, we will be in touch with you. So don't worry about getting in touch with us again. We will be in touch with you when we look for African people. So I waited, I really did. A few months passed and I never heard from them. So I thought maybe they forgot. So I thought, I mean, what can it hurt to apply again, you know? I mean, and this has been another important lesson for me, that you don't give in when you believe in something. I saw this as a break for me. You know, a break, an opportunity. It didn't look like an opportunity because essentially I was going to be leaving South Africa from a management role where I was earning a lot of money, and I was going to be going to do an internship I was going into a 6-month internship where there was absolutely no, there was no undertaking that I would be employed in the company. The only undertaking was that I'd have an internship. But I jumped for it, and I kept on applying. Anyway, so eventually they said, look, we see that you keep on applying. And they said, look, we don't have any jobs that we are looking to, bring anybody from the African continent for in the company. What we do have is an internship, but we don't expect, because they expected me to quickly say no, we don't expect you to say yes to an internship. You're already in a management role and all of this. You should continue, add value in your country. This is wonderful what you're doing, continue with that. And I said, thank you very much, I'll take the internship. And they said, okay, you need to understand, we don't pay a salary on this internship. We pay a small stipend, and you've got to find your own accommodation, you've got to find your own way of coming here, and within 6 months, you need to go back to Africa. That's important, because because I think there was a concern that maybe I was looking for a way to go and live in America. So I said, no, absolutely, I promise, I just want to come for that period, and when I'm done, I'll definitely come back to South Africa. Anyway, so I went to New York. It was very scary trying to understand the underground system and all of that, and I got myself in the company. What I hadn't expected was that all the other members of the intern on the intern team would be people from all these Ivy League universities. I was the only one who was not coming from any Ivy League university. And that in an American organization, certainly back then, it made you stand out quite a bit. So the result was that I wasn't getting any work. So as interns, you're dependent on people to give you work from time to time so that you can grow in that period of time. But I wasn't getting any work. And so I decided that I'd go and introduce myself. And I looked at the partners in the company, and there was one lady, she was a black woman, and I thought, yes, that's it, I've got it now. So I went to her and I introduced myself. When I went and I knocked on her door, she was on the phone, and I went outside, I waited, I went into her office when she was done, and I introduced myself. Hello, my name is Phuti Mahanyele from Africa. I'd, like to introduce myself and, find out if there's anything that I can help with and all of that. And she looked at me and she said, I'm sorry, maybe you lost. The interns are just down the passage, so you've got to go. And she was speaking very slowly. I think she was worried that maybe I wasn't catching on to every word. After all, I was from Africa. So, she told me how to get back to my team. So that was a very clear no. So I went back, and it took a lot of guts to build up the ability to go to any other partner after that. But, a few months, probably like about a month or two later, I was just in the office, and I always used to stay late. Even though I didn't have a lot of work, I'd stay late, like I was looking, when you're looking for an opportunity, you're looking for that thing, you can't term it. And this partner came by, he was busy with something. He said, look, I need this done. I've got this, deadline. I need this done by tomorrow morning. So I need you. Do you understand numbers? Do you understand how to do evaluation? Okay, I need you to do this, and all of that. And I said sure, and I did that. And I remember it was work that would typically take you like maybe 20 to 30 minutes. I spent hours on it because I wanted to be absolutely sure that this was correct. I took it back to him, and his name was Andrew Capitman, and I was very scared of him. He was one of these partners that we were mostly scared of. And he was happy, and then he gave me something else. And it developed into a relationship. Very soon we were working together, and because he was working with me, other partners and other directors in the company started giving me work as well. And you know, it taught me something else, that you should never define who your benefactor or your support is going to be. It does not necessarily need to be somebody who's the same sex as you, who's the same race as you, who's the same anything as you. But it's just finding that person who will be able to support, you know, and it is such an important issue to be able to grab onto. So for me, that helped me significantly. And so I was able to then get the help, you know, get started and work really hard. And in fact, it worked so well that by the end of that internship, I was offered a job in the company. I was one of the, I think there was maybe 3 of us out of the whole group of about 20 interns that were offered jobs. I was offered a job, and I ended up working for the company for about 7 years. When I left the company, I was already vice president in the organization, and you know, it was my faith walk, you know, because it didn't make sense at the beginning. And I remember, you know, when I was leaving for New York, and, you know, even my family were asking me, but Phuti, you know, you're a manager here, you know, you drive a nice car and all of this. What are you doing, this internship thing, you know? I mean, you've already studied there. You don't need to go and, but it worked so well for me.